Ever noticed how much the things around you change? As you progress through your day, you'll notice changes to the landscape of your town, new routes or means of transportation becoming available, the technology you use at work, the services you use becoming automated, the tools and apps you use to shop with or to manage your finances becoming simpler. Your friends will tell you about new features on their favourite apps. Your family will tell you about the new retail park that's being built outside of town. Your kids will tell you about classes in their schools that didn't even exist when you were a student. Even your phone will tell you there's a new update to install. Change is inevitable, and it's relentless, and we take it for granted. We see the new bike lane or the new skyscraper and just accept that somebody put them there. We see that Netflix has changed its layout or the BBC has a new logo and just accept somebody went and did it. We see that online banking has added a new security feature that slows us down a little, but we know it's for good reasons and we accept it. But have you ever asked yourself, how did they do it? And how did that go from being an idea in somebody's head to becoming a reality in my life? A builder didn't just turn up one day and start building an office block. An artist didn't just change and publish the company logo. And a coder didn't just add a security feature to everybody's bank account one morning after thinking it was a good idea. The answer lies in something that's invisible to most of the world, and it's often overlooked. Yet, it's a force that's helped to shape how we live, work and play. Imagine a world where all those changes never managed to get started or were left half finished, where deadlines are always missed and budgets perpetually balloon and every plan ends in chaos. It's not a world you'd want to live in. So what prevents it from happening? This is where the unsung hero of our daily lives comes in: project management. It's the discipline that brings control to change, enabling the constantly evolving world to keep moving smoothly. I'm Stuart Taylor, and today we're going to look into the world of project management. Why is project management critical? Not just in construction or IT, but in everything we do. Let's find out why this discipline, though often invisible, is indispensable in turning chaos into order. At its core, project management is the art and science of changing the world we live in a controlled manner. That could be small changes that you barely notice, significant projects that impact every aspect of your life, or the mega projects that can impact the lives of millions. At its heart, it's about taking a vision, an idea, a goal, or a need, and turning it into a reality, taking us from our current state to the intended future state. But how does this transformation happen? Well, you've heard me mention control a few times now, so hopefully you've realized that it's not magical or random, it's methodical, and it's not left to chance. Very few positive transformations have emerged from organic or chaotic approaches. There are a few grassroots movements that started out this way, or tools that have evolved out of ideas and developed based on inspiration or community inputs, but even they had to take an ordered and controlled approach in order to achieve large-scale adoption. So having control of the intended change from start to finish isn't just helpful, it's essential for making sure the changes in our world take place as intended. Project management is a discipline that includes planning, organizing, and overseeing a project to ensure it delivers the intended change and is completed on time, within budget, and to the desired quality. It's like a roadmap guiding you from point A, the idea, to point B, the final outcome. For example, imagine that you work for a business that recognizes that a change in the law means that all of their staff need to learn to work in a different way in how they treat customers, which is not unusual for regulated industries such as the financial services. Point A, the current state, is you have hundreds of staff working without the necessary skills, and you need to get them to point B, the future state where they need to have all the skills to perform their tasks legally. There's a lot that needs to be considered between those 2 points, and you can't expect the staff to just figure it out for themselves. You'll need to provide training materials, courses, workshops. Verifying that everyone has successfully learnt the content and can apply it in the real world would also need to be considered. You'll need to ensure that nobody got missed out. You'll need to hire trainers or train your existing trainers to deliver the learning. You'll need to create forecasts on how long it's going to take to train everyone and communicate with the most senior people in your business. You'll need to predict in advance all the things that could go wrong and prevent them from happening. And when things inevitably do go wrong, you'll need to fix them. You'll need to organise, motivate, and track the progress of teams. And on top of all that, you'll need to make sure that taking staff out of their regular job for extended periods of training won't disrupt the organisation to the point of failure. The seemingly simple task of teaching people a new skill is deceptive in its complexity. And that's why specialists in delivering projects are called on to make sure that every part of the change is considered, that every impact is assessed, that threats are identified and managed, and that the project is reported on honestly and delivered with sufficient transparency that the people who own the change are confident that they're in control. I hope you're enjoying this video, but if you've got any questions around project management, or if you think you'd benefit from a one-to-one coaching or mentoring session, I've put a link in the description where you can book a meeting with me. As you've guessed, I love talking about project management, and I'll be happy to help you if I can. The primary specialist for delivering projects is the project manager. I've made a separate video about that role, which I've linked to in the description. For now, you just need to understand that the project manager coordinates tasks, manages resources, and keeps the team aligned towards a common goal, all whilst balancing time, cost, scope, quality, and risk. Sounds simple, but it's not just about following a plan. Life has a habit of getting in the way of our plans, so project management involves adapting to new challenges, solving unexpected problems, and making decisions under pressure. The application of project management is the glue that holds projects together and ensures successful completion. Without it, projects can spiral out of control with missed deadlines, costs skyrocketing, and the final product not meeting expectations. In essence, project management is the unsung hero behind successful projects, big and small. It's what enables us to build skyscrapers, develop new technologies, organize global events, and even land on Mars. It's everywhere, shaping the world around us, one project at a time. But how does it work? Let's start out by looking at what a project is. There are many definitions out there, but generally they would all agree that a project exists for a limited time span. So it has a start and an end, and doesn't continue endlessly. It must also result in an outcome that has some benefit. So it must be clear throughout the project what its reason for existing is, what value it's creating. In some definitions, it's suggested that there must be teams, or that other people need to be involved in the delivery of the project or engaged throughout the project delivery. That's not always the case, but it's very unusual to manage a project that doesn't involve working with or engaging with others. While not all projects follow the same approach, the waterfall approach is widely recognized and utilized as the predominant model in project management. In recent years, there's been a shift towards more flexible, iterative methodologies, especially in software development where Agile, Scrum, and Lean have flourished. These approaches are favored in projects where requirements are expected to change or evolve. Due to its dominance, I'm going to focus more on waterfall for the remainder of this video. But if you'd like to see a video on Agile, let me know in the comments. As mentioned, projects have a start and an end. In waterfall projects, the time between them is called the project lifecycle and comprises of distinct phases like initiation, planning, execution, monitoring and control, and closure. This is crucial for ensuring the systemic progression of a project from conception to completion. This lifecycle provides a framework that enables project managers and teams to clearly define the project objectives, develop plans, efficiently allocate resources, and systemically execute tasks. By segmenting a project into manageable phases, it facilitates easier monitoring, control, and adaptation to changes or challenges, ensuring that the project remains on track and is aligned with its goals. Additionally, this structured approach allows for continuous assessment and learning, leading to the successful delivery of the project, whilst also providing valuable insights for future projects. The life cycle not only enhances the efficiency and effectiveness of project management, but also contributes significantly to the overall success and sustainability of the project. Here's a brief description of each of the key phases of project management, which together make up the project life cycle. Pre-project. Technically, this is taking place before there's a project and doesn't always get referenced in project life cycles. It's the step where an idea is explored, its size, cost, resource requirements, impact to the organization and potential benefits of the change are estimated. It then gets prioritized alongside all the other potential projects before being approved to proceed when it becomes the next top priority project and resources become available. The key objective from this activity is to understand why the project's needed and what its priority is in relation to all the other potential opportunities available to the organization. Initiation. This is the first phase where the project starts to take shape. During initiation, the project manager has been onboarded and starts to look more deeply into the purpose of the project and the estimations and assumptions that were made pre-project. If they're smart, they'll do this with a little cynicism. They'll expect benefits to have been inflated and costs and timescales to have been understated in the pre-project phase due to optimism bias. It's their job to deliver this project, so correcting any bad estimations as early as possible is desirable, as it's often the project manager who's judged on those outcomes. Initiation involves defining the project at a broad level, often through a project charter or a project initiation document, which outlines the purpose, business needs, scope, and stakeholders. Initiation also involves identifying the governance structure and approach to the project, as well as identifying and maybe onboarding other key team members. This phase confirms the viability of the project, and the project manager shares their interpretation of what the project intends to achieve, seeking sign-off from the organization's leadership. This prevents situations later in the project where the wrong outcomes were delivered due to a simple misunderstanding at the very beginning of the project. It confirms that everyone has the same understanding of what the project entails and that it remains viable. Planning. This phase involves creating a detailed project plan. This plan acts as the guide for how the remainder of the project is going to be executed, controlled, and closed. The planning process begins with a thorough capture and analysis of project requirements, ensuring that all stakeholder needs and expectations are identified and agreed upon. Planning encompasses critical aspects such as budgeting, establishing a timeline, allocating resources, devising risk management strategies, and formulating communication plans. By addressing these components, the project plan lays out a roadmap for achieving the project objectives, ensuring alignment with the captured requirements and stakeholder expectations throughout the project's progression. The project plan is the key output from this phase, and the information it provides that results from this in-depth analysis may identify changes to the expected costs, timescales, and benefits of the project. Once again, in signing up to the plan, the project's leadership is placed in a position where they must confirm that the project is still desirable before moving on to the next phase. Execution. This phase is where the plan is put into action. It involves the coordination of people and resources to carry out the project plan. Effective team management and leadership skills are crucial here to keep the project moving forwards. During the execution phase, the team develops the project deliverables to meet the project's objectives. In other words, this is where the project builds its products, whether that's changing processes, teaching people a new skill, writing code, constructing a skyscraper, digging a tunnel, all depending on what the specific project is seeking to achieve. This phase includes the testing activities that ensure that whatever is being built is fit for purpose. The type of testing applied depends largely on the nature of the deliverables being built by the project. Some form of testing by the end users is often required before the organization that's going to own the deliverables after the project's being closed will accept them. This is to ensure that the project's outputs meet the expected quality standards, and that any fixes or corrections can be made before everyone involved in building the project has moved on to other work. Hey, if this video is helping you, make sure to hit the like button so more people can benefit from it. Monitoring and control. I'm probably going to get into a little trouble about how I talk about this phase. Running alongside the execution phase, monitor and control is about tracking, reviewing, and regulating the progress and performance of the project. The purpose is to ensure that the project plan is being followed. Key activities include performance management, identifying and addressing issues and risks, and ensuring that the project objectives are on track to be met. It's important to accept that things will change during the course of the project. Some things will be easier than expected, some will be harder. Unexpected problems will emerge that even the best managers of risk couldn't foresee. So at times the project dimensions may need to be amended. During this phase, we ensure that any changes that take place to the dimensions of the project are only applied with the acceptance of the leadership. The reason I suspect I'll get into trouble when talking about this phase is because in my projects and organizations where I create the governance rules, I don't define a separate phase for monitoring and control. I just embed it as part of execution. I think so long as we do the right things, it doesn't really matter so much what we call them. I appreciate that maybe there are some project managers out there that will fixate on the execution of the project at the expense of control, but I don't think having a separate phase will change that behavior. But maybe I'm wrong. What do you think? Closure. In this final phase, the project is formally closed and handed over. It involves ensuring that all aspects of the project are completed and approved by the stakeholders, and that ownership of the outputs is transferred formally to its owners in the organization. Project managers will conduct post-project evaluations and finalize the documentation of lessons learned. This supports the creation of a project closure report that compares the original intentions of the project with the final outcomes, detailing any variations and key lessons learned along the way. This phase involves the release of project resources, but hopefully not before they take a moment to celebrate the project success and acknowledging the team's efforts. Okay, so that's how the project is structured, but you may still be wondering, how do the people working on those phases do the work? What skills, tools, techniques are used? Let's take a look. Before we go anywhere near tools, let's consider a few of the skills and competencies needed to deliver a project successfully. Doing it the other way around may give the impression that if you have all the fancy tools, the project will just deliver itself, which just isn't the case. Keep in mind, this isn't just a set of skills needed by the project manager, these are skills needed across the project team. Team management. This skill is crucial for the project manager and involves orchestrating the diverse talents and personalities within the project team, ensuring that each member is engaged, their contributions are valued, and they're motivated to work cohesively towards the project's success. Leadership and influence. While sometimes confused with management, leadership is an entirely different skill, and this too emerges from within the team. Key players within the project provide direction, inspire confidence, and drive decision-making processes. Leadership reflects the capacity to champion initiatives, drive change, and foster an environment where every member feels empowered to contribute their expertise and perspectives towards the project's objectives. Teamwork. This skill is based on the ability to work together towards a common goal. Each member contributes unique expertise and perspectives, and their combined effort contributes to ensuring that the team achieves its objectives. Collaboration. Sometimes confused with teamwork because it also involves people working together. Effective collaboration skills are more focused around finding ways for colleagues to work and think together to solve problems and share ownership of the outcomes. Communication. Essential at every level, effective communication ensures that ideas, feedback, and progress are clearly understood by all stakeholders, including within the project team. This includes verbal and non-verbal communication across various mediums and settings. In projects, you can find yourself writing emails to users and suppliers and giving a verbal update on the progress of the project to the CEO, all on the same day. Adaptability. Team members must be able to adjust to new challenges, changing project requirements, and evolving team dynamics. Flexibility and a willingness to embrace change are essential traits in the delivery of projects. Problem solving. Each team member brings problem-solving skills to the table, whether they're dealing with technical issues, resource constraints, or interpersonal conflicts. This was the skill set that actually lured me into project management all those years ago. Technical expertise. Technical skills specific to the project's objectives are important. These range from IT skills for a technology project to construction knowledge for a building project, and everything in between. Not everybody in the team needs to have the same technical expertise, but any gaps in the team or in its engaged stakeholders could pose a problem in the future. Time management. All team members must be able to manage their time effectively, prioritizing tasks properly to ensure the project milestones are met. Risk management. I'm going to make a separate detailed video on this topic, but in brief it covers the range of activities including the awareness of potential threats, escalation, categorization, and the management of mitigation responses. Now a brief look into some of the tools and techniques used in project management. This is a Gantt chart. Since its invention in around 1910 by Henry Gantt, the Gantt chart has been widely adopted thanks to its simple yet powerful visual representation of a project schedule showing start and finish dates for elements of the project and the dependencies that exist between them. It brought clarity and visibility to project timelines and resource allocation. A work breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of the project into smaller, manageable parts. It breaks down the project into individual components or deliverables, organizing them into a tree structure to provide a clear project overview. The WBS is useful because it provides a clear and structured layout of all project tasks, ensuring thorough planning and effective communication among team members. The critical path method, or CPM, was developed in the 1950s with the goal of improving project efficiency. It's a step-by-step project management technique that identifies critical and non-critical tasks, aiming to prevent time-frame problems and bottlenecks. It helps to identify the longest stretch of dependent activities and measures the time required to complete them from start to finish. Around the same time, the Project Evaluation and Review Technique, or PERT, was developed by the US Navy. PERT is very similar to CPM, but it incorporates a probabilistic model to account for uncertainty in task durations by considering the time variations in completing each task based on the most likely, most optimistic, and most pessimistic estimations. A prioritization technique used to reach a common understanding with stakeholders on the importance they place on the delivery of each requirement. Each requirement is categorized as being a must-have, should have, could have, or won't have. It helps in distinguishing between the essential and less critical tasks, ensuring that the project focuses on the most important items first. This method facilitates clear communication among stakeholders about what is crucial for the project's success and what can be deferred, leading to a more focused and effective project delivery. A process used to identify and understand the needs, interests, and influence of various stakeholders related to the project. By categorizing stakeholders based on their interest, influence, and impact on the project, we're in a better position to develop effective strategies for engagement and communication. These tools and techniques laid the groundwork for modern project management. They transformed how projects were visualized, planned, and executed, bringing us to where we are today. So, I guess they deserve their very own video. And that's going to keep me very busy. But speaking of things in the future, the world of project management is continuing to evolve. In the last few years, we've seen greater adoption of remote and hybrid working models enabled by technological advances and required to continue project delivery during the pandemic. These models have proven that projects can be delivered in this way, and some organizations may go a step further and consider whether their project workforce needs to even be located in the same country. Alternatively, other organizations are insisting on staff working in the office where possible. This appears to be all the more important when you need to have your project teams in close proximity to their stakeholders. Another aspect of the future that remains uncertain is the impact of AI on the profession. We've seen how well the tools can speed up our work, carry out analysis, make recommendations, but the big question remains whether AI can replace the project manager or other key team members. The answer for now remains not yet. But in my opinion, based on the advances we've seen in the technology and its widespread adoption, it's foolish to rule out the possibility. But even then, imagine an AI learns about what a project needs, decides how to deliver it, creates plans, determines tasks, and so on. It's still going to need people to carry out those tasks. So maybe we'll have a bossy spreadsheet telling us what to do, but it will still need us to change things in the real world, and it's unlikely that anyone's going to grant the authority or ownership to manage projects to a machine anytime soon. I think the adoption of agile approaches will continue, and we'll start to see business leaders with experience of delivering agile projects who are just more comfortable with taking a chance on that approach. Possibly at the same time, we could see a dilution of the agile and waterfall approaches as more organizations adopt a best of both worlds hybrid approach. It's just my opinion, but I think that would be good for everyone. It's the outcomes we're really interested in rather than being zealots for any particular approach. I expect that the rise of ESG will see project successes being measured not just in accordance with traditional benefits. A focus on sustainability, social responsibility may in some cases overtake the drive for financial success. Or maybe projects will be created that have a dedicated objective to making a positive environmental impact and contribution to social goals. We can anticipate changes in how mental health and well-being are managed in project teams. I've not gone into it in this video, but there are periods in projects that can be very stressful. It can be very demanding of our time, attention, and energy, and I've seen in my network the impact this can have on colleagues and friends' physical and mental health. But work dynamics are changing, and there will be growing recognition of the importance of mental health and well-being in project management teams. We've just covered a lot about project management in this video, and if you've stayed with me for this long, then thank you. But you must believe me, we've only just scratched the surface here. There's still so much more to look at. So check out some of my other videos on the channel. Use the links in the description if you'd benefit from a one-to-one call with me, or if you want to take a course on getting your first role in project management. But before you race off, there is a topic very close to project management that I've not shared much about here. And it's so close that they're often mistaken for each other. I'm talking about change management. I went for a coffee with my friend Graham Goodwin, who explained to me the role of a change manager, and I'm sure you'd find that conversation fascinating. So check out that video next, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon.